It's Pathogen. Just want to do a quick breakdown on my most recent release. It's an EP called EDM, sort of, parentheses. Stands for electronic and dubstep music, sort of. The initial idea was I was going to have a full album that was going to have like all instrumentals. There are still hip hop instrumentals that I found and bought that were electronic, dubstep, techno sort of stuff. And then I was gonna throw sort of or something like that in the title anyway, just to kind of cover my bases. I think this ended up being a little bit more sort of than EDM. So the first track, VSL, stands for Vodka Soda Lime. Just a nice fun party track. There's one thing I always stick to with music. Like I try to always talk about something serious, and I don't want to be a guy who's just kind of rapping about nothing, or a guy who's always trying to be funny or stuff or something like that. Like I want there to be substance. There's one thing that I always remember that like Tech Nine always talks about. He's focusing on party tracks, or he's just not quite with the dark stuff that he's done in the past. And he's always like, I just want to party and live sometimes. So like part of music, no matter how you're feeling or what you want to rap about, you're like expressing yourself. So sometimes it's just fun to talk about drink. It's a really simple song. There's not too much to break down. I mean, I like whenever I do a party song, part of it is just kind of just a general sort of, ooh, I like doing this. And then I like to do storytelling. Like the first verse of DSL is me being in the bar, drunk as hell, trying to talk to these chicks. It's not working out, and then I have to throw up. With this EP, like a party section, a we live in a society section, and then like the more personal sort of stuff. So after VSL, I go into Titties, which is about titties. I like titties. I kind of wrap the song up by saying it's funny that rap gets a bad rap because it's like people associate songs like this with rap only, but like listen to any genre, we're all horny as hell and we all love titties. So after that, I go into Crypto, which is a nice little balance between the party and the we live in a society section. Really, it's a joke song. It's I started out with like some automated speeches talking about cryptocurrency and how the world's changing and this, that, and the other thing. I do the hook, and then I open up my first verse with, if you don't believe in Bigfoot, you can suck my fucking dick. So it's supposed to be funny, and it's pretty basically about Bigfoot and like believing in wanting to believe in stuff like that. But I do talk a little bit in the second verse about, the more we pillage the earth for like the resources that we need as humanity keeps growing and expanding, and we keep running out of natural resources or stuff like that, and the more we search for ways to keep our lives going, just keep humanity going and keep our lifestyles improving and whatnot, feel like we are going to find some stuff, whether it's cryptozoological creatures or just like other like earthly like problems or new discoveries. We are going to find some stuff that we may or may not regret. Then we have Kissing, Kissing. This one's also pretty silly in nature. The first time I heard the beat, I immediately started thinking of like the nursery rhyme, the Kissing, the way the beat and like the melody sort of bounces. I was trying to figure out how to work that in, and I thought maybe it would be something more like some sort of party or like sexual song or something, but then I thought it would be funnier and maybe more effective if it was about something serious. But I kind of doubled down on the silly because I think it's really, really corny to have like literally have like a chorus saying like the government and corruption, sitting at like when you're like government is corrupt, like that's pretty corny. You want to be a bit more, you want to be, I guess, a bit less on the nose, or you want to disguise it in a metaphor or something. So I doubled down on that, and then in the verses I just kind of did my thing. I switched up a couple flows. I tried to go a little bit faster in the second verse, so like a lot of silly layered around, a little bit of serious in the center there. And then after that, it's Attack of the Clones. The title based on Star Wars Attack of the Clones, 2002 movie. Nowadays, I feel like popular music, no matter what genre it is, whether it's like actual like pop or it's like hip hop or rock, whatever like that, you're hearing on the radio or you're just hearing a lot, or what's being pushed to the top of like the musical heap, a lot of it can sound the same in a lot of ways. And I also think that make stuff really, really simple and you're gonna get people, as long as the beat and like the hook is catchy and like the lyrics are kind of upbeat, people are gonna be with it. So a lot of pop music today, like I say in the song, sounds like infant entertainment because I think it has a lot of similarities to what I hear like on kids shows and movies. So it's kind of how like everything's kind of sounding the same. And then also it touches on the fact that there's so goddamn many of us trying to find our way in this world, using art to express ourselves, especially focus on music because that's what I'm doing, like digital content like content. Like everybody is trying to do something that we all think is unique and good, and we should do that. But it's just, you got to get through mountains of like social media and YouTube algorithms. You got to be like truly exceptional and different, and you have to know the right people, and you have to just work your fucking ass off. I mean, and especially if you're at the level I am, along with working some 40-hour job a week. So it's just there's a lot of people doing a lot of the same things because we're all trying to live our dreams, and we want to break through day jobs. We want to do, you know, the art stuff we're doing. So it's just like a sea of people doing the same sort of stuff, and we're all, to a point, we all have to be selfish in a way, and like support each other, but you also want to make it. So there's, Attack of the Clones. It goes into King of the World. Pretty simple, really. It's just like, I'm the shit. It's a really interesting instrumental. I'm glad I found it. It's a dude I've bought instrumentals from him previously. His name is Mort Schieber. Last name is Shybur. You can find him on YouTube. Like a post-punk pop synth wave sort of beat, I think, is a lot of the tags that were used. So I like it just because it's good. But I also kind of like it now in hindsight because I definitely don't think that was meant to be rapped on whatsoever. It's a fun vibe that I haven't really been able to capture before. I think the verses came together really well. I think I got a couple of good, simple, nice flows. The hook and the bridge and the intro, outro, it's all just King of the World like a billion times. So it can be super repetitive, and the first time I performed it live, I think it went well. So I think it is kind of a fun one. And this goes back to that. Ironically, this is that sort of pop thing where if you keep the hook, if you have a song that's got like a good catchy beat and you keep the hook nice and simple and it sounds relatively good, then you have a chance to catch on. So that's what I was trying to do. There's a cat behind me. My engineer on this one do a lot of like processing and effects and tuning on my vocals, and I wanted to stack them up a lot and make it feel like really big. So it's also not like super the most accessible poppy thing ever. It's like I feel like I stayed true to myself while trying to execute a concept that would hopefully get me some sort of like traction. And speaking of traction, Breaking Mirrors, the final track on the 7-track EP. Fucking love this one. It's actually a really important one to me. There's a couple like nominal songs. I think we all have stuff. You always have moments in your life, especially if you're working on art, you have these specific pieces or specific songs that just mean a lot to you, and they come at the right time, and Breaking Mirrors is definitely one of them. It's a sequel to Trick Mirror, which I released in 2022. It was on the album Welcome to My Multiverse, streaming everywhere. I keep looking right into my own eyes. I'm sorry, I can't fucking not. They look good. It's a sequel to Trick Mirror because Trick Mirror was maybe about like not always knowing exactly where I'm going, not being totally confident in what I'm doing, or having some idea and trying to find my way. And like every day you wake up, you see different versions of yourself. You're getting new tattoos, cutting a beard, putting the hair up. Like it's just, and then as you get older, you just start noticing differences in you, and you start thinking about different things. And Breaking Mirrors is kind of an evolution of that, is where I'm still not there. Like I don't know if any human's ever going to be like there, totally content. After a couple of years after Trick Mirrors come out, now that Breaking Mirrors came out, I'm more confident in myself. I have a better idea what I'm doing. I do feel like music is what I should be doing. The beat was produced by Erlax, E-R-L-A-X. Find them on YouTube. And once again, I definitely don't think it was necessarily made for rap. Basically, the rhythm and the pace is super similar to Trick Mirror, but it's like even it's a little bit faster. And it really, really punches. So it was a chance for me to kind of show my evolution as just a rapper in general, and like a lyricist. The first 2 bars, it's the same exact flow as Trick Mirror, and that's why I'm like, this flow is gonna sound pretty familiar, but only temporarily. And then I speed it up and I hit it, and it's nice diction. You can kind of understand everything pretty damn well. I feel like a lot of my music, there's sometimes issues with that, which I'm still working and improving on everything. But those next 2 bars really came clear, and then I kept the pace going with the bridge. Slightly different flow, but kept the pace going. Repeated it just to kind of like edge you in, and then hit the chorus. The second verse, I tried to get really fancy. Alliteration on 1 bar, and then I rhyme every word. So I did alliteration, rhyme every word, alliteration, and then I just kind of, I didn't try to do any literary device on that last one, and I still had the outer rhyme scheme. And I had some inner rhyme schemes in there. So I tried to get really fancy. It wasn't really fast rap, but I wanted to keep kind of the pace going. And then I switched up the rhythm again to where I went really fast, relatively for me. I was struggling to get down that last part. So I was trying to do another line, another bar after that part in the same exact flow, but it didn't really work out. I couldn't really get it down. I couldn't kind of fit what I wanted to fit in there. So I decided to just kind of let it cool off with by continuing the joke that I made in the bar before it, and then I could hit the outro where I'm literally in the outro. I do what I'm doing here. I'm just describing the song. All right, so I rambled a lot. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully it's interesting. Give a little insight to what I'm doing and give something behind it, because maybe there's, I always like that. I love when like artists post lyrics in the description, which I never want to take the time to do. Or when they give interviews, or say like if you're subscribed to someone on Patreon and you get some background info about something on some live stream they're doing. I think it's just always nice to hear what someone's thinking.